Are you ready for an action movie with a hero who throws punches first and asks questions later? He is John, but his code name is Falca. Although those days are behind him, right now he's having the worst streak of his life and is considering canceling his subscription to Life. Every morning, John puts a bullet in the chamber of his gun, spins it, and then pulls the trigger. Luckily, that day wasn't his turn to join the dead, so he gets up and walks to the store for more alcohol. His body runs on alcohol and cheap soups, nothing else concerns him. As soon as he sets foot in the store, two robbers enter armed to the teeth and threaten everyone. When it's John's turn, he doesn't flinch. He's been ready to die for a long time, and in fact, he takes the barrel of the thief's gun and puts it to his head, yelling at him to pull the trigger and end his misery. But the thief hesitates, and that is his biggest mistake. John disarms him with a quick movement and then takes care of the other one, recovering the stolen money and returning it to the owner, who thanks him and doesn't charge him for the bottle of whiskey he came to get that night. He drinks the whole bottle and then trains like crazy until dawn, hitting the wall hard as if it owed him money. The next morning, his sister Cindy visits him upset. They were supposed to have breakfast together at the cafe, but now will be lunch, because John got drunk and fell asleep. He came to say he knows. He will go to Brazil for a few months. It's part of a humanitarian mission, and he will help people in need in the favelas, the worst place to go on vacation. So at the next dinner we meet to Katharina, one of the few police officers who are not corrupt. She is the one who finds Cindy's body on the shore of the beach. The young woman hadn't been in the country for 48 hours and is already fighting for her life. Tiago, the detective chief, passes it. Information that Namoni, the consulate officer who has the responsibility to inform the victim's family, has. While John flies to Brazil to see his sister, Tiago is in the favelas investigating what happened there. Gangs are willing to kill police officers who ask too many questions, and Tiago proposes a deal to the leader, a bare-knuckle fight, his best fighter against theirs. If the leader wins, Tiago will leave and promises a month of peace without police. But if Tiago's fighter wins, he will tell him what happened with the girl to prevent a massacre from taking place. They opt for the fight, and Tiago chooses Carlo, his best man. Carlo is a capoeira master and wins the fight without any problems. At the hospital, Mandy greets her old friend John and takes him to his sister. Cindy is in a coma and her condition is serious. Tiago appears and advises him to leave the work to the police, but John refuses and Tiago has no choice but to deal with the American trying to be a hero. Later, a nurse appears to give it to her, a medicine for Cindy. John allows it, and a few seconds later, after the nurse leaves Cindy, she starts convulsing and almost dies. Tiago returns and asks questions, discovering that there is no Asian nurse in the hospital, so surely someone tried to tie up loose ends and kill Cindy. After securing his room, John gets tired of waiting and returns to the place where they found his sister. There he sees a boy named Coca, using his sister's necklace. He interrogates him, but his friends intervene and John must remember the old days and prepare his fists. After beating up everyone, the fools who thought they could defeat him, John takes Coca's knife and puts it to his neck. Just then, Katharina appears and helps him with the translation. It turns out that Coca is Carla's sister, the girl who agreed to let Cindy stay at her house for the time they were volunteers. They were friends and Cindy gave her the necklace. Coca shows him the same photo that he has. Carla and her sister were friends. He is also searching for her, but each day loses hope. Katerina tells him that every day more than 30 girls disappear from their homes in the city. Gangs kidnap them for ransom or to sell them. In Carla's case, probably already. She might not even be in the country. She was a brunette with beautiful eyes. Those are more valuable to a foreigner. While going through Cindy's belongings, John discovers a local phone number, so he calls the place, and it turns out to be a photography studio. Bruno, the studio owner, meets John and says his sister found something she shouldn't have. Now someone is after him, and he just wants to leave the country. He came to see if John can help him escape. John tells him he won't leave until he gets justice for his sister, and before Bruno leaves, he steals a USB drive from his pocket to Siemens. After Bruno gets into his car, it explodes and turns into a ball of fire. While trying to see what happened, John manages to spot the Asian girl from the hospital and chases her down the street, but she escapes in a van. A few seconds later, another van with armed men appears and shoots at John, who takes cover with a police patrol car heading towards the site of the explosion. After the shootout, John takes out one of the bad guys, but his companions take the body. At the embassy, John shows her tribute to Manny, who retrieves several photos of Cindy arguing with a man. After tracking him to a club, he beats him up and gives him a bath in his own urine until he tells him the name of the person who attacked his sister. While Manny and John go at the culprit's house, Thiago and his men prepare for a large-scale operation where they plan to eliminate several leaders. One of the largest kidnapping gangs. Upon arrival, John realizes that many of the thugs present are Asian, so the girl must be around somewhere. Without mincing words, he asks about their leader, Hirimoto, but the young Asian woman is watching him from the second floor and orders him to be killed without causing a scene. One of the men takes him to a balcony, where John sees almost a dozen girls brought in, including Carla, Coca's sister. Suddenly, someone attacks him, back with a cable, and tries to strangle him. But John is a former Marine. He knows those tricks already. Now that they know they're trying to kill him, he starts searching the place for their leader or the girls. In the favela, a Tiago officer encounters the Asians kidnapping young women, opens fire, kills one, controls the situation, and calls Thiago, who congratulates and then kills him. It turns out that like everyone in the city, except for Katerina, Thiago is corrupt. Only he works for the Asians who pay better. After saving the guy's skin, he tells him he wants double pay this month. Then he calls Tomo, the Asian girl, to remind her that they shouldn't work in the favela today. Tomo tells him it was an urgent request, but thanks him for doing his job better than he did with Cindy. It was Thiago who beat Cindy nearly to death. The girl saw something she shouldn't have and was a loose end. Now her brother is involved. Hirimoto's house, and they need you to kill him ASAP. Once at Hirimoto's mansion, Thiago surrounds John and tells him to surrender. He explains to him, Katerina, what happens and asks them to check the back storage. There are the kidnapped girls and Katerina. He decides to listen, but Thiago prepares to kill him if necessary. Fortunately, he took and got the girls out before the police arrived. Now John looks like a madman, one fool for messing with one of the richest and most powerful men in the city. Thiago promises him that he will find the truth, but he needs him to surrender and hand over the briefcase he stole from Tomo's office. John finally surrenders, but when he's about to get into Katerina's patrol car, he realizes that he never mentioned to Thiago that he was in the Asian girl's office, nor did he know her name. His mind connects the missing pieces and realizes that Thiago is a traitor and tells Katerina to run to the hospital and protect Cindy. Upon arrival, Katerina finds Tomo about to kill Cindy, so she shoots him in the back. Back with John, he's arrived the port where they transport the girls, so he calls Manny and tells him everything about Thiago and Hirimoto. Then he begins his attack, managing to eliminate Thiago's men stealthily. In the end, Hirimoto shows his face and katana, trying to kill John, but fails miserably. After killing Thiago and Carlo, it's time for the final fight to begin between Hirimoto and John. Before leaving, Thiago pleads. John, knowing that what he did was wrong, but only wanting to give his family a better life, leaves a gun with a bullet in the chamber and walks away. In the distance, he hears Thiago. He ends his life to avoid it, his days in prison. Manny sends reliable men who arrest the Asians, rescue the kidnapped girls, and put an end to the nightmare that plagued the city with the missing women. At the hospital, John finally receives good news about his sister. Although the recovery will be long, she will be fine. The movie ends with Manny telling John that he has the talent to be an action hero and offers him a job in one of those branches of the government that supposedly don't exist. John refuses, but when Manny offers to pay for his sister's recovery at one of the best health centers in the US, John has no choice but to accept. So Manny hands him an envelope with his next mission and his old and new name, Falcon. And that's how this great movie ends. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and thank